Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Today I'd like to talk to you about a topic very dear to my heart, and that topic is coffee. But it's not just coffee that I want to speak about. I'd like to talk to you about a specific brewing process, one that involves an apparatus called the French press. Now, many of you may be familiar with what a French press is. However, what you may not be aware of are the advantages or reasons to choosing a French press over other methods and you may not be aware of how to brew a cup of coffee with a French press. So today, I'll briefly cover what a French press is, reasons for choosing a French press over other methods, and demonstrate how to make a cup of coffee using your French press. So the French press, also commonly known as a press pot, coffee press, or coffee plunger, is thought to have been invented during the 1850s by the French, of course, and then later patented by the Italians somewhere during the 1930s. Now, the design usually consists of a narrow cylindrical beaker made of glass or plastic. Some are made of metal, but with the metal ones you can't really see what you're pouring or brewing, and that kind of takes the fun out of the whole press process, so I prefer the clear models. Now, you also have a plunger, which fits snugly into the cylinder. At the bottom of the plunger is a wire or nylon mesh, which acts as a filter for the grounds. Now, they come in various sizes. These are 32 ounce. And they will range anywhere in price from $10 for the real cheap single-serving models to $50 with the metal frames and all the flashy gadgets and finer materials, etc., etc. So as you can see, they're fairly simple in design. Once you know how to operate them, they're fairly simple to use. And the basic concept here is hot water and coffee are placed together in the beaker. They're allowed to steep or brew for several minutes, and then the grounds are filtered to the bottom to allow for a clean pour of coffee into your favorite mug or coffee cup. So now that you know what the French press is, a little bit about the advantages of choosing a French press over other methods. So one advantage is the taste. Now, most coffee drinkers, including myself, probably are familiar and use the standard auto filter drip machines. Now, you put the paper filter in place, pour your grounds on top, fill up the water, and press on. Well, as simple and convenient as this may be, what many of you are not aware of is that there are so many tastes being filtered out of the actual coffee through the paper filters. So coffee, as it was originally made years ago, before all the frilly sugars and spices were added, it was a much more flavorful, full-bodied coffee that involved the taste of the oils, the tiny sediments of the coffee, and even the very minute gelatinous materials from the beans called colloids. And all of these are eliminated by the paper filters. So you're really missing out on the true flavor of coffees when you're using filters in the auto filter drip machines. Another advantage is the ability to regulate temperature. So coffee experts, they will tell you that the perfect brewing temperature for coffee is between 195 and 200 degrees Fahrenheit. If you go too high, your coffee grounds risk getting burnt, which will leave a terrible bitter aftertaste. And if you go too low, you're not extracting the full flavors of the coffee from your beans, leaving yourself with a watered down taste. These are a couple temperature gauge devices that you can use to measure the temperature of your coffee. Tests done by coffee review sites have also shown that most store-bought machines fail to meet this 195 to 200 degree range. So with a French press, you can actually measure the temperature of your heated water before you pour it onto the grounds in your coffee press. Moving on, finally, brewing your coffee with a French press allows you to steep the coffee at its optimal suggested time, and that is 4 minutes. Now, what that means is the coffee grounds are allowed to sit in the water while the flavors are extracted for a full 4 minutes, which has been deemed the optimal time for allowing this to happen, this natural process of getting all the oils and flavors out of the coffee. Now, unfortunately, auto filter drip machines often fall short of this desired steeping time. So now that I've covered what a French press is, I've given you a few advantages to using a French press. Now it's time to go over how to make coffee. Now, first, the grinds. For the sake of this demonstration, I've already gone ahead and poured from my water heater into the French press. It's been staying here for about 5 minutes, 4 or 5 minutes roughly. So it's steeping right now. What I used was pre-ground coffee, although you have the option of using whole bean pre-ground. Over here you have a couple different grinders. These are electric grinders. They can be purchased at the store anywhere between $20 and $40. The important thing about the grind and the press is that you maintain a consistent ground of coffee. You don't want to go too fine, preferably coarse, but if you go too fine, it will run the risk of getting stuck in the filter, and also using too finely ground coffee tends to take a lot of the oils out of the coffee beans. The machines tend to burn away some of the oils as you're grinding the beans. So anywhere from a medium to coarse grind is probable for the press. So went ahead and already heated the water. Used my temperature gauges after it was done heating and waited for it to come down to 195, 196. That's about where I like to keep my water temp. And then when I was done with that, and right before we started taping this, I went ahead and poured the water on top of the coffee grounds, being careful not to splash the hot water all over myself. And then I went ahead and just placed the plunger right on top of the grounds. That way you keep the grinds in the water and allow it to steep for, like I said, 4 to 5 minutes. Now this has been sitting here for the right amount of time. I'll finish the process by holding on the top and pressing the plunger down with an even, consistent press, pushing the grinds all the way to the bottom. I want to line the holes up here. Take my coffee cup, holding the top to make sure that it doesn't fall off. Go ahead and pour it into your coffee mug. And there you have it. I prefer my coffee straight up, no sugar or additives. This way I can enjoy the smells and the taste of the oils you can actually see flowing on the top. And there you have it. That's how you use your French press. So today I've covered what the French press is, some of the advantages to using a French press, and I've quickly shown you how to make your own cup of coffee using a French press. So I hope you enjoyed this today, and thank you very much. Have a good day.